Hey, what is up YouTube? thyAshes here bringing you another video, and today we're going to be talking about the pool play groups that were just announced last night during the fight night. So this is for the Paris Open event. They said there was going to be a group of death. I don't know if I see it, so you guys are going to have to let me know what you think, but let's go ahead without any further ado and get right into these groups. Starting with, of course, Group A. Let me transition over here so we can look at the article. Pool A, Group A, OpTic Gaming, Splice, BAM Esports, and then whatever team comes out of the open bracket. So obviously with us, OpTic Gaming, you know the roster: Explosive Mental, Kenny, Summons, Icy, and myself as coach. With Splice, they have made a roster change since the last event. They now are running with Desinide, Idenevs, Involving, Adverse, and Chaos. And then Choche has been moved from his spot as a player to a spot as the coach. I'm not too sure about the insight into that one, but it should be a pretty interesting roster change. I think Choche is a great player, but they do have a lot of just pure talent on that team, and they always have. But maybe now there's just so much slaying power that they might be able to see them break that top 8. And then BAM Esports, which I believe is one of the teams from France. I saw them play Vitality in one of the fight nights recently. That's Dark Frag, Reacts, Dynam, Chris RN, and Myexum, or however you pronounce his name. They were formerly La Baguette, as you can see right here. Solid team. Should be pretty interesting to see how they do. And I'm going to do a different video where I do kind of predictions for basically the whole tournament. But it should be a pretty interesting group. I don't think this group is really a group of death. So yeah, and I just want to point out that I called on Twitter that these guys would be in our group, and they're not. I mean, they are, so Group B, Pool B. Now, in my opinion, this could be as close as you can get to a pool of death. Because you do have some strong teams. Envious, obviously one of the best teams out of North America. Epsilon Esports, the best team out of Europe, arguably. And E6, another top team out of North America. And they're coming off a fresh roster change. So we all know Envy, Franchise, Toy Soldier, Praised, Ribs, and Solars. No changes. Coach Ryan. Epsilon, I believe it is still the same. Oh, actually, no, I lied. They did make some roster changes. They are now running with Phelpsy, Hydron, Craze, Sam, and J Rage, I'm guessing. So there have been some roster changes. It'll be interesting to see how Epsilon does. I think they're still a top tier team. I don't know too much about J Rage. I do know Craze is a really great player, so it's possible that this could push them over that top 8 as well. But you've also got E6 in this group with their new roster, which in my opinion is one of the better roster changes out of North American teams. Eternity, Hudson's, Excels, Soto, and Hesitations. Now, and then Coach Berger, obviously. So, and I actually don't think Berger's the coach anymore. I think he's kind of stepped aside from that due to his Twitter announcement, and Affinity is actually coaching. So they've got a coach who has a lot of experience with the game and who is very familiar with the team. So that might help them improve at a more rapid rate. I just don't know how hands-on he is. Eternity and Hudson's pretty consistent players, and Enigma 6 is one of the teams that I've always said is a lot better on land than they are online, so you can't count their online performances in 2Ks and stuff like that as how they will be on land. They always show up on land when they need to and perform well. Excel's one of the best players in the game. Definitely could be in the top 10, maybe top 15 of all players. Leadership, gun skill, game knowledge. He has a big a big plethora of experience as well. So he could be a great addition to this team. And I think combined with Soto, who's pretty consistently solid on any team. He was great on E United in the last event in Atlantic City. And then Hesitations, who's kind of one of those players who's just raw, pure, undeveloped talent. He comes with a lot of gun skill, maybe not so much experience or knowledge about the game, but he obviously showed them that he is worthwhile and worth paying attention to. So you have the veteran Eternity, you have experience in Excel, Soto, and Hudson's, and you have this raw Slayer. That could make a pretty killer combo for this pool, and in my opinion, make this pool kind of a pool of death. In Pool C, you've got E United, Allegiance, and Last Ride. Pool C's E United, we all know Demo, Dispensa, Lava, God Plays, and their newest addition after Atlantic City, where they released Soto and picked up Zerpting, who was on Panda with PNDA. Zerpting's a good player. I don't know how well he performed in Atlantic City because I didn't get to watch too many of his matches, but adds a little bit of slaying power to that team, which is something that they like to look for. So it'll be interesting if they can do better. And then their coach, Javon White. Allegiance, no roster changes since Atlantic City. You have Giraffe, Jerpy, Gwish, Crash, and Shock, and their coach, Perpsy, which I actually think he might not be coaching. I think he's actually looking to play again based on what I saw on Twitter. So I don't know how much he actually does for them, but the team is constantly growing. We've scrimmed them recently. They're looking good. So by the time Paris comes around in 2 weeks, I think, they could be a very strong team to maybe even take this group after a disappointing performance in Atlantic City where they got basically upset in their group. So it's really kind of up in the air. And then you've also got this new team that's been put together, and I don't know if this is the final roster because I saw a bunch of stuff on Twitter about it, but if this is the final roster, you've got some heavy hitters on this European team with Reaction, Ron Slot, Combo, Ash, and Crimsons. Now, Ash was formerly on Epsilon. Reaction, everybody knows who he is. He played with E6 in London. Very talented, one of the best players arguably in Europe, let alone the game. So you have a lot of people with experience, a lot of people with slaying power, and a lot of people with game knowledge, which is what I look for in players and how to, basically judge how a team is going to do. So this team could easily do well in this group, maybe even take the group. It just kind of depends how well, if United shows up like Atlantic City United or if they show up like London United. Allegiance, same thing. They were great in London, not so hot in Atlantic City. So we'll have to see how those teams show up. And then finally, your last group, which also arguably could be a pretty strong group. In fact, groups B, C, and D are pretty strong groups. Now that I take a closer look at them. Group D, you've got Echo Fox, Ghost Gaming, and Vitality. For those of you who know or don't know, Echo Fox is Kyle, Crash, Clouds, Franco, or Bull, and Crushmo, and their coach Prison. No roster changes. They're sticking to the same team. They had a great running in Atlantic City up until the losers semifinals. They were dominating everybody. They looked scary, honestly. They looked scary. They looked like a great team, and I don't know what happened on Sunday, but if they can fix whatever happened on Sunday, they could be a serious threat. Ghost Gaming, on the other hand, they kind of had the opposite. They looked very weak on Friday and Saturday, and they made an incredible run through Saturday and Sunday to put themselves in third place again. Back-to-back third-place finishes in Mexico and Atlantic City. The roster is Sleepy, Rushies, Keem, Drix, and Speedy, so no changes on this team either. And their coach, PR, who actually is a pretty smart guy about the game, so he provides a lot for that team. And if they keep working on their weaknesses, they could see another top 3 finish very easily. And then the last team of this group and of all the groups that we've talked about is Vitality. This is Zorkos. I might pronounce some of these names wrong. Baghdad, Strikers, Kenny or Keeney. I don't know how it's pronounced. And Physics. And then they have a coach, Guts, again. I don't know much about this team. I know they're the #1 team out of France, I believe, and they're one of the top European teams. I don't think they did that well in London. I don't think they did well in Columbus. I don't remember if they're in Atlantic. Oh, they were in Atlantic City. I don't think they did that well there. So they on the big stage with the international teams, the North American teams basically, and coming in and performing is not really their thing, but they're on home turf now. They don't have the flights to deal with or the jet lag and all those kind of travel issues. They're literally at home. So if that plays a factor, if that's what's been holding them back, then maybe we'll see a whole new Vitality. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video. That is your 4 groups going into the Gears of War Paris Open. It's going to be Friday, May 5th through Sunday, May 7th. You can see it right there. So make sure you tune in for that and subscribe to my channel down below because I will be doing a predictions video on all of these groups as well as the bracket play following. So stay tuned for that. As always, guys, hit that like button. I appreciate the support so much, and I will see you all in the next video.